I feel the most likely outcome for Microsoft investors now is for them to lose money over the next 5 years because of what's going on with the stock price, most importantly. Microsoft has been a great performer over the last decade, more than a 10x. But it was also like that in the 1990s, more than 100x, and then the stock stagnated for 15 years only to regain its traction. However, I think we can compare the 1990s with now, and then you know what is a very big possibility for happening, which is negative returns. I think it was 13 years to break even. Because if we just look at revenues, we are now trading at a 3.1 trillion market cap on 245 billion in revenues. If I made my calculations right, that's 12 times revenues, not earnings, revenues. Of course, Microsoft is an amazing business. There is no argument on that. A great business, everything great. And that is expressed by the gross margins that are staggering and more than 30%. However, great business, yes, but what needs to happen for you to get a return there? Why are you investing? To get more money or to lose money? That's a question we will have Warren himself helping us understand.
I use what I've just been talking about. I use the illustration of Aesop. Because here Aesop was in 600 BC. Smart man, wasn't smart enough to know it was 600 BC, though. I mean, would take a little foresight. But Aesop, you know, in between tortoises and hares and all these other things, he found time to write about, you know, birds. And he said, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Now, that isn't quite complete, because the question is, how sure are you that there are two in the bush? And how long do you have to wait to get them out? Now, he probably knew that, but he just didn't have time because he had all these other proverbs to write and had to get on with it. But he was halfway there in 600 BC. That's all there is to investing, is how many birds are in the bush, when are you going to get them out, and how sure are you? Now, if interest rates are 15%, roughly, you've got to get two birds out of the bush in 5 years to equal the bird in the hand. But if interest rates are 3%, and you can get two birds out in 20 years, it still makes sense to give up the bird in the hand, because it all gets back to discounting against an interest rate. Problem is, often you don't know, not only how many birds are in the bush, but in the case of the internet companies, there weren't any birds in the bush. But they still take the bird that you give them if in the hand. But I actually have written about this sort of thing, and stealing heavily from Aesop, who wrote it some 2,600 years ago, but I've been behind on my reading.
Thanks, Warren. So, how many birds are there in the bush with Microsoft? How sure are we? And how long to get them out? If we look at the financial summaries, yes, there was good growth, and it is likely that the growth will continue, but how much growth do we need to justify the current stock price? And will AI deliver on that growth? So 16% growth, and if I put just that into a calculation, if I calculate, let's say, a recession, and let's say net income just stagnates, doesn't grow anymore, the P ratio reverts to 20 where it was just a while ago, that's a market cap of, let's say, 2 trillion, which is more than 30% down from where we are now. And then you can also ask, what needs to happen for this to give me a good return? I want this to become 6 trillion, let's say, in the next 5 years, because if I'm risking 30% down, I want at least a 100% up, the possibility of it. But then, for that to happen, net income has to almost double to 150 billion, the P ratio has to stay high at, let's say, 40, and only then you double your money with Microsoft. So, I think that here, even a little bit changing from Buffett, a bird in the hand is much more worth than two Microsoft birds in the bush 5 years down the road. AI might work, but also it might not be as profitable as people are expecting it. The internet worked but that just means everything is cheaper. Microsoft didn't actually make money on it that fast. So think about the risks and rewards, check for other opportunities. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.